All right. Hello, everyone. We are about to take off on another adventure here. We're gonna go look for this settlement up in the woods here. It's up on the side of this mountain. I haven't been up here, so I just wanted to come check it out. Why don't you guys come along and we'll see if we can't find this together. All right, we got an old road here, so that's a good sign. We're gonna skedaddle up to the top. Use LiDAR to find what look to be cellar holes up here. I could be completely wrong. Sometimes that LiDAR will play tricks on you. But we're gonna climb up here. It's somewhere up there. We're gonna follow the road out though and see if this brings us to anything cool. Here we go. Surprisingly enough, the road's in pretty good shape. Still got a ways to go. But yeah, looks good. Haven't found anything yet. One piece of metal a little bit further down, but big old mushrooms. Yeah, let's keep walking. We'll get back to you when we find something. All right, looks like we got some garbage. Oil can. There. Been shot a few times. I'm probably setting that up for shooting. Look at another paint can here. And the paint can buried in the ground right there. Interesting. Some strapping over here. Some more strapping. Metal sticking out of the ground. No foundations yet, but I'm sure we'll come up on them. There's some more metal coming out of the ground. I don't see any glass. Just a whole bunch of metal. So we'll keep looking. I'm not even sure what this would have been. We'll keep looking around. This is like a pit of some sort. No, if water just kind of scooped this out, or if they were throwing rubbish in here. Looks like there's some more metal right here. So yeah, we'll just keep looking around and see if we can't find a foundation of some sort. Well, looks like we walked up on a foundation here. This is a big foundation. And it looks like there's a lot of rubbish in here. A lot of glass. Or excuse me, a lot of metal. A little bit of glass over here. Looks like window glass. No bottles anyway. So finding old bottles. But there is a little bit of glass and garbage in here. You can see all over the ground. All this metal. Yeah, a lot of metal and stuff up here. Looks like a pile of burnt stuff there, so maybe this burned down or they burned it down. But it looks like right there would have been where there was a chimney of some sort, where they got the stuff all built into the bottom. But yeah, just a big old cellar hole here. I mean, big building, big building. We'll keep looking around, see if there's any more. Here's an interesting piece. Not sure what it is. It was on this tree. My guess is probably up high. Maybe it was an electrical line of some sort. Or line, but look at that. Some connector adapter on this tree. And then there's this thing down here. Could have been for an electric fence as well. Just a something. Not sure what it is. Well, there are all just these little paths everywhere up here now. Could be animal paths, or it could be paths to stuff like this big bear drum here. These are the holes in the bottom of it. They might have been feeding bears with this. There's some modern lighter stickers, it looks like, that someone stuck on the side of that. See if this goes out to anything. Maybe this just goes out to the road. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I think this is the trail that goes, path that goes out to the main logging road. All right, we're gonna duck back in the woods this way. There might be stuff on the other side too of this. I haven't really done exploring out here except during the winter. All right, it looks like there's a clearing over this way too. Out in there, so there may be something back in there. But we're gonna keep going back over here because I haven't done much over here and I want to see what's going on. So back in the woods we go. We'll check it out. I'll bring you back when we find something. Oh, look at that. I found an old stone wall in here. Looks like a stone wall. Maybe it was a foundation, but it's not dug out, so I don't think so. It looks like a wall was right here. Stone wall. It comes out a little bit more over here. You can almost see it down here. It could have been a foundation. A lot of metal in here still. So much metal up here. I mean, it's all over. This angle iron and steel everywhere. As you can see, the wall was right here. It's now in shambles. I'm gonna look around. All right. So all along here, this is just behind that big foundation. I found what looks to be a stone wall, or at one point, that was all field up there, where all these trees are now. And these were all the stones from the field when they tilled it. But it's a pretty solid wall, so they might have done this intentionally as a way to hold the bank up, because it is straight down from here. But I found this. I haven't found any bottles though. A little bit of glass in that foundation. I might go poke around a little bit in there. Nothing too exciting, but it's always an adventure. So we've got this stone wall. I was looking down this hill to see if maybe they chucked, if there was any debris behind here or any rubbish, but I haven't found anything yet. So we'll keep looking. It's warm out here. Here we go. Now you can see a much more intact section of this wall. Comes down here, and I found a piece of garbage behind it. More metal. Looks like a metal bucket, galvanized pail of some sort. Maybe. Yeah, that's a bucket. But that's full. Good sign though, behind the wall. Rubbish behind the wall. I was hoping there'd be a pile of glass back here, but I haven't found anything. So, well, just keep poking around. There's bound to be rubbish out here somewhere. Maybe if we get to the corner of the wall. I feel like I've walked a quarter mile and this wall popped back out. Same wall. And I've just been scoping down the hill to see if there's been any relics that were tossed many, many years ago over the side. Haven't found any yet, but this wall just keeps going that way. And then eventually I'm going to try to make it back to those foundation, that big foundation. But I'm going to keep following this and looking for anything metal, glass, any of that. I just found this, another piece of metal sticking out, but there's nothing around it. And below it, the metal is just so deteriorated. I don't have a diggy or anything, so. There's a sign. There's a sign. Think we want to keep going and looking? Gosh, I was hoping to find some pile in here, but nothing. It's old brake light of some sort. Looks like that went to a car, maybe. An old headlight. Taillight, maybe, or it was something decorative, but just reminded me of that kind of glass. But it could have been decorative. A lot of old door hinges. That was a light bulb. A lot of junk in here. A lot of junk. There's just another light bulb. No, that was a spark plug of some sort. Really thick glass. No bottles though. Let's go poke around in this foundation a little bit. Looks like there's concrete and cement in here, so they dumped a bunch of shit in here. For sure. You can see this is burned, so they burned whatever object was in here, whatever building was in here. But this looks like, cement. Or I mean pavement. That's what that is. So maybe not too long ago they tore something up. Maybe that road coming up. Nothing to really date. That was green paint. A lot of logging happened out here, so I'm sure this was a logging camp. But I'd love to find an old bottle so that I could date it. All the cans are just so rusty. There's not much to date. There are a ton of cans though. Lots and lots of cans. This is like a tub of some sort. Oh, what does that say on the side? It says something. The tree kind of grew over it though. I don't know. You can get it out. Big opening. No label though. Can't read anything on it. Too bad. There's just a bunch of junk in here. That thing is just stuck. It's really stuck down. I don't have any gloves, so I don't want to go too crazy on it. I bet you under here, there are very old cans. You can almost see the label through that one. That would give a double. Here we go, here we go. Oh, so close. Anybody know what that logo is? I'm gonna take this can so I can clean it up, because I think I can get a logo out of there and we can date this hole. We'll probably come back up here and explore again, but just wanted to come up here for a quick poke before work and find it, and I did. Very old stuff in here. Not sure what this thing is, but looks like something that was stood up the other way. Those are the legs. There's something around there. Something works. Gears. Interesting stuff up in this hole. But again, no bottles. Oh, we might have had one here. Yeah, we did have a bottle here, but it's broken. It clear. It wouldn't have told us anything. Slick. But yeah, can't believe there's no more, there's no other bottles in here. Probably dig around and find some, but. Okay, so we got our one piece of evidence from the hole that we can probably go home and clean up and date. And that's about all I wanted to do here. So we're gonna skedaddle and get on off to work. That looks like it's manganese glass, possibly. So maybe we can take that and look, because that'll date it pre-1920s. So I like to take a couple pieces of glass too, because then you can give it the old test. But whatever it was that was here burned, because everything's pretty melted. Pretty well melted. Another piece of big glass, but I didn't bring my flashlight with me, so. And that was a ball jar that got broke. I can see that. right here. That was the line. It's a bit older, a piece of old blue glass. But that was an old ball jar there. The rim kind of broke out. Yeah, there's the big piece of it. Easy seal. Might be worth poking around at some point. But there you have it, folks. I'm going to take this home again just so we can get a date. And I'll wash it and let you guys know. I'll clean it up so you guys can see it. And then maybe we can get a date. This looks like the bottom of that jar. These are Atlas jars, maybe. Let's see. This one say on it. Old glass. Old glass in a pile. Ooh, look at that, a silver fork. Maybe. It's pretty tarnished. But there's a fork. Fork. Look at the tines on that thing. All right, let's take our rubbish and go. Well, I thought I was done. It's broken, but I found the majority of this bottle, which is an interesting, almost like a light green glass. Looks older, feels older. There's 0 seams on this bottle. But that was right down here. Oh yeah, there's the rest of it. So we missed it by a second, but there was a nice bottle right there. Dang, I love that color. Beautiful color. And it just got broken into a million pieces. Here's my can. We'll take that. Then we'll take the bottle top and we'll do a little research. All right, so we made it back to the car. We've got this one cool can. I should be able to clean it up enough that we can figure out when the can was from, so we'll get a date from that. Also the bottle, even though it is broken, there's no seam on the neck, and it looks like the top was pulled directly from the tube on the bottle when they blew it, so we should be able to date that as well, even though we don't have the whole bottle. But thank you guys for coming along. It was a quick little walk up into the woods before work. I'll probably end up going back here just to do a little bit more exploration and see if we can't find a trash pile, because typically when people live way out in the woods like this, at one point there was no trash service. Hard to believe, but even way out in the woods, they would just throw their garbage on the ground and we would just bury it eventually, or it's just there. I've been to so many dumps that are out in the woods that are just mind-blowing about seeing how much garbage is still just sitting out there in the woods, just literally strewn everywhere. I've seen acres of trash in some places where there used to be resorts. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, let me clean those up. I'll give you guys the date, and that was a cool adventure, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Still feels pretty good. You could put a buff on this thing.
Yeah, nice piece of steel in the river. Look at the size of that thing. What do you think that thing was for? We are right by the railroad. Look at that. Well, I say we're right by it. We're a quarter mile away, but down this river. Could have been pushing the water.
That thing is heavy too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we found another dump. We're just digging through the ground here. There's stuff everywhere. Just hitting the top of this one. Wow, what was that thing? That must have been cool, whatever that was. Here's what that can looks like, all cleaned up now. A little bit different. Dated this to about 1940. This beer came here in the early 1930s. It was imported here for the first time, and then they changed the design, the K design. I think they put a hat on the guy after the war. So we dated this can about 1940s. So the original, again, the original K logo had no hat. Super cool can though, excited about that. Nice little find. So it looks like that, we know that it's gonna be pre-40s. Or right around, this can is dated in the 40s. I'm hoping if I can find older glass there, older cans, but we'll see another time.